Chag Sameach, everyone. I'm standing in front of the beautiful new Sukkah at Palm Beach Synagogue. And today we're going to be celebrating a Brit, Milah, a newborn baby in the community, and the festive meal will be inside the new Sukkah. Now, one of the questions about a Brit Milah is, why is it when the baby's only 8 days old? The baby's not old enough to understand that they're entering into a covenant with God. Why not wait till the baby is old enough to understand what a covenant means, to have a covenant with God? And one of the answers given is because that's precisely the idea of the covenant. That the Jews' covenant with God, the covenant of Abraham, has to transcend even our understanding. It cannot just be built and based on our understanding of God. It has to be a faith that goes beyond our own intellect. And that's really the story of the Jewish people and the miracle of the holiday of Sukkot. When you look at the holiday of Sukkot, we went into a wilderness. As Jeremiah says, God never forgets our kindness and our love, that we followed him into a barren wasteland. And we trusted that God will provide for us. And sure enough, God provided us with the clouds of glory for protection, and the manna from heaven, and the water from the rock. And when we sit in the Sukkah, we remember God's kindness and divine protection. But if we would have thought about it rationally and logically, we would have said, how could we survive in a desert? We're not leaving Egypt. But because we had faith in God and we trusted, that's why we became a Jewish nation. And so sitting in the Sukkah and looking up at the stars in heaven reminds us that as Jews, we always have to put our trust and faith in God. And even if we cannot understand, how will we endure? How will we survive? We're such a tiny nation. We have so many hostile neighbors around us who seek our destruction. Like the flimsy sukkah that may seem vulnerable and susceptible to the harsh environment around it. Miraculously, with our faith in God, the sukkah is intact. And for thousands of years we've sat in the sukkah, which symbolizes the trust and the faith of the Jew in God, that no power in the world, no force can destroy. This past week in Hamburg, Germany, there was a ceremony. You see, in 1938, the biggest synagogue in Hamburg, in all of northern Germany, was the Bornplatz Synagogue in Hamburg. It was dedicated in 1906. A magnificent synagogue with 1,200 seats, beautiful architecture, tall ceilings, stained glass windows. And on Kristallnacht, it was destroyed. And then the Nazis razed the building down to rubble. Well, it always remained a sight to be remembered, with a mural on it depicting what the synagogue looked like. But just 3 years ago, in 2020, a Jew in Hamburg, Daniel Schaefer, was in an antique shop where he came across a crown of a Torah scroll that was from the original Bornplatz synagogue that had been dedicated to the rabbi, whose name was Marcus Hirsch. And he purchased this crown, and then he started a campaign, and he said, it's time to rebuild the Bornplatz synagogue. And he went and met with dignitaries and officials and government people, and he would bring this crown to the meetings and put it on the table and say, this is a silent witness to the atrocities, to the brutality, to the evil of the Nazis. And we want to reclaim this land and rebuild it to its original stature. And finally, this past Wednesday, the municipality of Hamburg, together with governmental officials in Germany, met with the leaders of the Jewish community, and Rabbi Shlomo Bistritsky as well, and Daniel Schaefer, and deeded them the property to rebuild the Bornplatz synagogue. And they took out the old decree from the Nazis from 1940, which called for the destruction of the building, and they shredded that decree. And they said, we apologize that it took us so long to return it to the rightful owners of the Jewish community. And the German government is going to lead the effort with donations of tens of millions of euros. And then together with private donations, this synagogue of 1906, 85 years after Kristallnacht, will be rebuilt and restored. That's the Jewish people. That's the story of the Jewish people, the resilience of the Jewish people, the indomitable force of the Jewish people, that no storm and no environment could destroy. But like the Sukkah continues to be a symbol of Jewish pride and faith in God. Have a wonderful day.